Oh my goodness me. What a palaver. Um, so first of all, my camera stopped picking up on the computer stopped picking up the camera. So I tried a number of things. This was just before I was about to click go. It just suddenly went and stopped. And then oh, hang on, I've got my what a palaver. Okay. And then something else happened. I can't remember what it was. So I had to. So I'm now using a different camera. So I had to get the camera. I had to find it. I had to plug it in. Then something else happened. I can't remember what it was. And then I just. Oh yeah, that was right. Ecamm Live wasn't picking up the live stream that I'd created, the event that I'd created. So then I had to log out. And by the way, one of the reasons with the camera, sometimes the USB ports on the back of the computer sort of stop working. So a way to sort that out, if you've got an iMac, I don't know about the new ones, but the one I've got is you turn it off and you unplug the power cord for a certain amount of time, and then you plug it back in and it resets the USBs on the back. So I thought it might have been that, but it wasn't that. And then the so I had to log into a YouTube, and it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't actually find YouTube at all. Like, it was just kind of coming up with the login screen and then just going away again. So I was just like, it's one thing after another. Anyway, I think I'm sorted now, and what I'm going to do actually is so I just don't know what's going on with my technical issues at the moment. There seems to be all kinds of things happening. I might have to do some kind of reset in my computer or something. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with my computer. So today, half an hour late, I thought I might actually do something on the with the DFAM and the electron model cycles, just a sort of two of those things. As you can see, this camera isn't as good, so the green screen fade thing is a bit more weird. Let's see if I can just yeah, there we go. It's a bit tighter. The chroma key isn't quite as good, so yeah, you can see I've got a little halo around my hat. Anyway, oh yeah, and that was the final thing that happened. The mic seemed to have an issue where it was kind of really booming. So yeah, ridiculous. And I had it all sorted when I went to bed last night. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is I'm doing a new tune, and I think I'm just going to play with the DFAM and the electron model cycles, just a kind of groove-based thing. And just because, well, for one thing, as a result of the review I did yesterday of playing, I realized that the thing I was controlling the DFAM with, this and the DFAM, this was over here. You wouldn't be able to see it. Let's see if I can move this along a bit. Hang on. Yeah, like that. So this was over here, and I'm controlling the effect on the DFAM with this, and so I was going like this. The other problem, and this isn't ideal, but it's just the way it is, so it'll do, is that the piano I'm controlling with this, and it was over there, and the piano's just over here. But anyway, I'm going to forget about the piano today, and I'm just going to focus on the playing with the DFAM and the electron model cycles, because one of the benefits of doing a kind of ongoing project, and to be honest with you, I reckon everyone wants to think of it like this, no matter whether you're doing it live or not, is that you're not finishing. In fact, I sent an email about it just last night. You're not actually You are finishing pieces of music. Of course you are. You're finishing pieces of music, but you're finishing pieces of music in order to improve your process. And part of your process, of course, is how you set up your setup. Yeah. So in that sense, the end result simply becomes uh, a roadmap, if you like. It's like, okay, so there's a problem here, there's a problem there, and there's a problem, and the goal isn't to solve all those problems in that tune which display the problems. It's to get it done so that you can hear the problems. Because the thing is, if you don't finish anything, if you don't finish something, you don't actually hear the problems. So an example is if I never, it's not exactly the same as if you're working in a DAW, but it has a lot of similarities. If I never did a performance, a record, like where I press record and then I play the piece, if I never did that, if I was just tweaking all the time, I wouldn't be doing anything. And in produced music, it's the same thing. It's unless you finish it, in a sense, you finishing it is you doing a performance, and then from that performance, there's no other way of doing it. You have to do a performance, or in the case of produced music where you're not performing, you have to finish it. And ideally, you also want to release it. I mean, because both finishing something and saying, right, I'm done, I'm moving on, is a psychological. It has a psychological effect. You just can't get it any other way. It's not possible. Well, as far as I know, anyway. In all of the years of making music, I've never been able to simulate that exact thing as finishing it, completing it, and moving on. A psychological effect it has. There's something that happens where you're just able to hear it differently. Okay, so if you don't finish it, you don't truly know what the problems are. And releasing has a similar effect, is that you get another kind of insight. It just feels different as well. So essentially, for me, because I'm performing my music, and obviously I'm going to have two stages of that psychological, where I do a performance, I record it, okay, and then I actually produce that piece of music, finish it, and then I release it. So actually, it's three. I have the recording of the performance, the finishing of the piece of music, and then the releasing. And each of those things gives you valuable insight. And the unfortunate thing about it is, unless you've experienced that, you won't know what I mean. so it gets quite frustrating sometimes, because sometimes I think people don't believe me. It's like, yeah, but there is something that happens when you release a piece of music that you can't simulate. Anyway, so I don't know how I got onto that, but anyway, I'm going to, let me see who's here. Turn on the comments. Yes, Kev, it was a total mission. I was all right though. I'm quite one of the things I have noticed about myself over the more recent times is that I'm seeming to gain. Well, there are certain situations where that's not the case. So sometimes when I'm on workshops, I get frustrated. Yeah, but certainly when I'm on my own, I tend not to get really stressed out about things too much anymore. I used to. I think, maybe the meditations have an effect. And also, actually, maybe probably being in those high stress, high intense situations of like workshops where I'm having loads of things to do is making everything else easier. So, anyway, DFAM model cycles. So let's not worry about the piano today. And unfortunately, I seem to be in the way. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can make myself smaller. Give me 2 secs. I'll unlock that. I'll put myself in the corner. Nobody puts Mike Monday in the corner. A minute. There we go. Mike Monday puts Mike Monday in the corner. There you go. Apologies for my terrible 80s film references. Hang on a minute. What's that going on? Oh, maybe if I'm over here, aren't I? Right. As you can see, highly professional production situation going on here. Yeah. And then if I zoom it. Okay. There we go. Not that I'm playing the piano, but anyway. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to actually save the thing. Save the file. Delete that. I meant to have had this all sorted, but the technical issue is just primary display. Right. This. So I'm just adding a screen share so that you can see what I'm doing on the screen. Eventually, this is going to be slick and tight. Trust me. All right. Now, let's see where we are with that. No. Yeah, okay. All right, here we are. Zoop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as something. It's the wrong one. Save as, what will we save it as? I'm just going to call it track 2 for now. All right. And really, I mean, don't worry about all this stuff on the right-hand side here. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can. So don't worry about the stuff on the right-hand side. I haven't got that mapped. I just don't want to get rid of it because it took me ages. This actually is a this thing over here is a MIDI kind of representation of a console 1. Is that what it's called? It's the Softube thing, you know, the Softube piece of hardware. And just like I've got this terrible terrible history of buying really expensive pieces of equipment and then just using them as MIDI controls. so I've done that with not using them for what they're supposed to be used for. So I've done that with a Maschine Mark III, the console 1, and the what's it called? Keith Mills K-Mix. It's not funny. It's terrible. What about my children? What about the children? Anyway, what about their shoes? The shirts off their back. Anyway, they'll do it. They'll be fine. So they've got spiders. They've got spider wasps. Anyway, so this is really the two. Well, this thing down here, which is my what's it called? What's it called? I don't know. Mix face. Terrible name for a bit of gear. Mix face. I'm going to mix your face. And this down here, all of this ugly stuff, is a MIDI representation of the MIDI fighter. Should be working. Yeah. Okay. So I've got 2 pages of the MIDI fighter, and actually that's a point. Oh, that's not good. I've got to use these buttons on the side, which means. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can just. I've put this in and forgot I've got to use the buttons on the side, which is annoying. Why is it that it always just doesn't fit? What is it about like life that means things like it's just like 2 millimeters and you'd be there? What is that? What is that? Anyway, I'm going to worry about that later. Let's just go onto the other screen because I don't need to use the first screen. So this screen here is because obviously with the MIDI fighter you can scroll back and forward through different screens. So this is screen B, I think it's B, and then on the thing, it's the right hand side over here. So I'm going to move my Ecamm screens over here because I won't be using that. And up there, I can see your comments. That's right. That's exactly it. Oh God, I have taught you well, Padawan. So yeah, that's exactly it. Problems are there to make us creative. That's exactly what it is. Bloody annoying though, aren't they? I mean, you know, I do love problems and everything, but seriously, bloody annoying. I am still human, you know, despite everything I say. So right, okay. I keep on wanting to play the piano, but I'm not going to do that today. So let's just. So it struck me when I first got the DFAM, and it was actually Philip. It was actually Philip who said yesterday. He was talking about the things about Moogs taking up loads of the frequency spectrum, and I like yes, absolutely. That's why I've got so little in my setup, because I love the sound of these things. And it strikes me that a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people kind of use them in a huge setup with loads of instruments and then end up having to make them not sound like they do. Because I remember when I first got they just sound like another synth, right? But when I first got the DFAM, I just played it on its own, no effects, nothing else. And just, I mean, obviously I was excited. So there was that, I was excited about the new thing, and it was cool and it was fun. So that kind of colored my perception of how great it was. But I just remember thinking, my goodness me, this sounds good. Oh man, you're coming back at me. You're coming back at me with the things I say, Philip. Philip says it never quite fits because while perfection exists and we get ever closer, we'll never reach it. That's exactly it. Oh, man, sometimes I hate myself. All right, so thank you, Philip. Yeah, so Philip saying that about the DFAM reminded me. Right, when he said it, well, not the DFAM, but Moogs in general, they take up loads of the frequency spectrum, particularly when you've got effects over the top. And that made me think, yeah, well, that's actually the reason that I've got so little going on. But also, when I say little going on, so few parts, but also, I want to thank you, Philip, because you reminded me of that fact, and that problem probably still needs to be solved within this setup. In order to really make the DFAM sing, for instance, I probably want to really focus on that problem. It's like, right, how am I going to make it work? Because the other problem with the DFAM is it can go across the whole, maybe not the whole frequency spectrum, but I'll have to ask my dog about that. But it can go across an enormous frequency spectrum. So how am I going to work with that? Because the reason I've got the dynamo effect, or I'm testing the dynamo effect on it, is that it can do a number of different things, like create certain spaces around stuff, and it also has this. It's called dynamo because it's about movement, and so you can have a very simple thing on the DFAM on its own, and then put this effect over the top, which is constantly changing, which creates this sort of interest. And also there's an element of randomness. I don't know what it's going to do. So therefore, that's like a discovery opportunity. I've just realized I've got the fan on loud here, where you might be able to hear it in the background. Hang on. I was like, what is that hissing sound? It's the aircon. Right. So let's just I'll just start, and I'm just going to start by playing the DFAM alone. Actually, thinking about it's a bit far away. I still haven't got this set up. In terms of where things are properly, but at least these two things are closer together now. So play. What I might do as well is I might just press record on track 2, see what happens. I'll turn that off, turn that down. Let's select a new pattern that is empty. Let's go for track. In fact, let's go for track 2, given that it's track 2. Did I do that right? I don't know. Yes. Okay. So that's, why is that playing there? All of this moving around, I may well have pulled something out. Hang on. It shouldn't be playing. It shouldn't be playing because it should be being controlled. Oh, maybe it does play, unless you don't actually know that. Oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Excellent. You know, there are certain. So for instance, the BeatStep Pro, if you've got it plugged in to sync via MIDI or clock, if you press play, it won't play unless the actual clock is playing. And I thought that was true of the cycles as well, but evidently not. So I'm just going to pan the kick to the right. Why is that quiet? Oh, it's probably because it's muted. No, that's not right. That's not right. That's not what you want to do, Michael. There you go. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, so. Hello. Okay, that's good. Oh, sorry, I'll turn on the camera. Actually, if you can bear with me a second, I can probably sort this out, because for some reason my Stream Deck seems to have decided to work. And I'm going to put my headphones in so that I can... Alright, there we go. Sounds quite nice, that, doesn't it? What do you reckon? I think it sounds quite nice. I'm going to show this primary display so you can see what's going on. Alright, so here's my Stream Deck. Sound like I've got them on double on the voice. What's going on there? Oh, there you go. There we go. That's better. Is that still working? Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. You would have heard me doubling on my voice. Anyway. Where is it? Overlay. For various different reasons on this EK. Yes, I do. For various different reasons. Okay, so that's my camera. There we go. This will just make the whole thing for you a lot easier in the long run, a lot better in the long run. So apologies about this. Put the screen share there. Oh no, that's the wrong one. It's an overlay. Overlay. Screen share. I should name these. Let's make that. Let's rename that as what's it called? I know, primary display. What I might do as well, because I'm going to play with the Dynamo. The Dynamo is, where are you? There we go. So 21 days left. I'll tell you what, UJAM, thank you, UJAM, for such a generous and wonderful demo policy. You get complete 100% all functionality, nothing at all for 30 days. I'm like, okay, you know, thank you. So you really want the people who want it and who can use it to buy it. It's just great. Like I appreciate that. So Dynamo, thank you. It's not Dynamo. What are they called? UJAM, thank you. That's very kind. You're obviously musicians. Okay, so UJAM. Huh. That's weird. Why is that not? You can't see what I'm doing. I'm changing screen to. Oh, there we are. So that's another screen share. It should give me the option. Oh, there we are. So what I can do now, if I get rid of me there, is actually add the plugin itself elsewhere. Screen share options. custom. There we go. So I can actually put that there like that. And that probably means I don't need this one. Let's call that dynamo. Because you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Is that right? Yeah, you'll be able to see what I'm doing on the camera. So I'm going to get rid of this one. Again, part of what I'm doing here is I want to show you the whole thing. I want to show you. I want to kind of show the doing of the thing and the making of the thing about doing of the thing as well. so it's like because I do actually think what I'm doing here is a fundamental part of being a musician these days. These days, everything's so terrible. Yeah, for these days, I do actually think what I'm doing right now on this live stream, like doing a live stream about the making of music, can be a fundamental part of making music. It's like it's one of the places it's going. It doesn't mean you have to do it. It just means that if you want to do it, it's a really good thing to do. So why not show that too? All right. So this is Mike. So I'm just naming my thing. So this is. I'm not going to bother with the. That's what I'll do. Primary display. I'm not going to bother with the icons because that's boring and take too much time. And I'm going to make this one the dynamo. So obviously I would have done this all beforehand if I hadn't have had a technical nightmare. Alright. So now I can turn myself on. And I've got the dynamo in front of my face. So oh no, I'm okay. So that means I can now turn that off. So I've got dynamo over here, and then I can turn. Oh, that's the final thing I need to do. Is get the camera. Not the camera. What am I doing? Oh, that camera. Okay, so this is called equipment. Let's call it gear. Piano gear. There you go, that'll do. Alright. So now, there we go. Except that's the wrong way around. We're nearly there, folks. Nearly there. So that's got to be... Think, Michael, think! Right, there we go. Okay. So this one is who? What's that? Oh, that's me. All right. So that's Mike. And this one is gear, piano gear. Right. Not piano fear, CN930, CN930. That's not good either. Piano fear! I've got a bad case of piano fear. Ah! I wonder if there is. I bet you there is. I bet you there's a. And I don't want to joke about it because I know that. What are they called? Things which you're really afraid of things. You know, if you're really scared of spiders, there's a name for it. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember the word. Anyway, that you know, when you've got about something, I bet you there are people who have a mortal fear of pianos. Actually, I had a girlfriend who get this. What are they called? What are they called when you've got an absolutely like debilitating fear of something? There's a word for it. Phobia. There you go. Yeah. So I had a girlfriend who had a phobia, and it was a phobia of banana peel. And I didn't realise it was. I actually didn't realise it was an actual phobia. I just thought she was saying she didn't like it. So I ate a banana. The first time I ate a banana with her, and I went "Boo!" in her face, and she absolutely freaked out. Like she totally lost it. I was so mortified that I'd done that. I was just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. She was like, she was a very, very calm and lovely person. It was the only time she ever shouted at me. So it was phobia of banana peel, but not bananas, just when it was peel. Unusual. Anyway, how did I get onto that? Anyway, so tell you what, actually, I'll move me over here. That would be much better. There we go. That's more like it. Right, we got there in the end, didn't we? Only an hour late. Right, and then maybe I'll make this a bit bigger so that you can see what's going on there. Right, so on the MIDI fighter over here, I should make myself even smaller. There we go. On the MIDI fighter over here, I've got this one set to the middle knob, which is called Finisher. So it's kind of a mount, but it also changes other things about this, right? And the thing is about these, this Dynamo, these UJAM plugins, is you can't really do anything. You can't edit the effects very much, because like they have a bunch of settings here which do different things. So there are like, I think there are sort of plugins behind this plugin, right? And you can't actually change what it is they do. All you can do is change these 5 knobs. You can also change the input and the output, which obviously affects things. But apart from that, you can only change these 5 knobs. The Finisher it's almost like intensity of effect, but it's not just amount. Yeah, if you want sort of less amount, you would use the input and the output, or you would turn it, I've got it on ascend and also going direct. And then these 4 knobs are pattern, for this particular setting, pattern, rearrange, reverse, and tone. And I think I spoke about it yesterday, so tone is, if I mute the original signal, so it's a filter basically. Reverse on this setting is obviously more reverse, I guess. Rearrange does that's nice. As you can hear, if you listen, like this, I think this setting on the Dynamo, there's some kind of dynamic stuff going on, where things are only triggering in the Dynamo when certain frequencies occur, or something like that. So you get a lot of pleasant randomness, right? I think we might turn up a bit the tempo a bit. Alright, let's get the snare going. And I just wanted to point out something. So if we listen to the bass drum, we go. Okay, so that's the note on the bass drum of the Electron Model Cycles. And what's making this quite pleasant is that the DFAM. So that's a third. It's a major third above the DFAM note. So it's creating this kind of between the interplay of those two things. And I didn't plan that, it's just what happened. So that's one of the things that's making this nice. So I'm logging that in my head. If I was playing the piano, I'd be like, okay, so that's a major third. Or you don't have to know it's a major third, but there's a relationship there. So I'd have to find the notes which kind of worked with that. Yeah. And what's bothering me is that kick drum. That's better, right. Now I'm listening to that, I'm sort of thinking about changing the pitch of this note. So it's 4 semitones. No, maybe... I don't know if you can hear that. Let me just turn up the distortion on it so maybe you can hear the note better. So if I turn that down. And I'm going to change the note on this note as well. So it goes to the same note that the it's 4. Wrong note. Now, I know that I'm going to get annoyed with that note there on the model cycles if it plays all the time. So I'm going to, in the model cycles, I'm going to put a chance on it. Let's say 25% of the time. Now I could be doing this in the actual performance, right? But I'm just narrating it and just working some stuff out because I want to show you what I'm doing and how I'm thinking about it. What's going on there? That's strange, it didn't set the pitch. It's meant to go. Alright, let's work on this snare a bit. Volume. Again, we don't want that too often, so let's just... Oh no, not swing. Sorry everyone. Ooh. Actually, I will do that. Alright, so chance. What I've done so that it now is always going Have I done something down there? No. So it feels like I accidentally knocked something on the DFAM, which has changed it, which is strange. I don't know what I did. Maybe it's the dynamo. Rearrange, probably. Right, hat. Remember, with my kind of own self-made rules, I'm only allowed 3 instruments on this thing. Oh, I've got this on it. So I've got a, just so you know, so if you're interested, how I'm changing the sound of that. Wait a minute, I should turn down the delay on that, it's annoying me. Why is that still coming through? Oh, I know why. Panning, there we go. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the distortion, the kind of saturation thing, which gives me, in situations like this, an ability. So let me just a bit more faffing around with the screens, I'm afraid. We'll get there in the end. Shoop. Alright. There it is. I'm not really feeling that hi-hat pattern, to be honest with you, but anyway, let's just worry about that in a sec. Where shall I put shoop? Running out of space. It's only a little thing. Alright, so yeah, basically, I've got simply the drive. That's the wrong one. That's the DFAM tube. Oh yeah, okay, it's this one. This one. Here we are. Here we are. Yeah, so basically the left hand the left hand channel of the Electron model cycles I've got going through this, so I can change the sound of anything that's coming through that. That bloody sound is annoying me. Right, okay. So it creates it can create a moment both ways, because I can make it go mental. Okay, so let's sort out this hat. I might just see. Swing. Alright. And just a little bit more on this now. I almost want to hear a tiny little dead note on that snare right there. No. No. Oh, what am I doing? So what I love about this this thing is that, I mean, I'm not using half of the stuff it can do. I'm not using half the stuff it can do, and it's so easy to get an interesting groove going with the chants and the way that you can edit the notes, and it's almost like it's in that sweet spot of limitation and, for me anyway, a sweet spot of sort of limitation, ease, and but also endless possibility. It's just they've just got like they really have, for me, for the way I work, for the kind of mind that I have, they've just nailed it. It's the best drum machine I've ever owned, but I'm not including the DFAM because I don't think the DFAM's a drum machine. But in terms of like a groove box, I mean, I've had a 909, right, and I like it more than the 909. Even though the 909 is obviously a classic, in terms of actually it as a creative musical instrument, this thing's just the Don. So yeah, hats off Elektron. All right, what I might do actually is just randomly start the DFAM at another point in the pattern to see what happens. And that's just given me a thought, actually. If I reset this, does it? No, it doesn't. What I was just doing there was seeing what happened if I randomly stopped and started the sequence, because then it goes at different points in the bar. The only problem with that is it's almost impossible to get back to the way it was at the start. Now, given that I'm finishing I'm actually going to be finishing these pieces of music, like in production, rather than performing them, that might actually be an option. Because like I think it's really important that I get back to the original thing that it was at the start. So I could just copy the way it was at the start, or just move things along so that it is like it is at the start. So I might actually do that. I don't know, or I could just do it in production. But then that would change what I do in terms of the performance. So this is obviously just going to be a very kind of simple little groove piece. It's not like it's not a magnum opus. It's not about it's not going to be a big thing. It's just going to be a little ditty with the DFAM and the Elektron model cycles. I think I'm ready to do something, but the first thing I want to do before I do that is actually get some water, which is over there. So I'll be back in a sec. But the other thing I want to do is actually think of what this could be about, right? The purpose, because that will help me get out of the. I mean, you've seen me being quite howish, yeah. What am I going to do? Yeah, and just sort of listening to the music, and I feel that I kind of need to make that high leverage decision. Right, what is this going to be about? So I'm just going to go and get a bit of water in this glass. I haven't got a proper glass, have I? I've just got coffee cups everywhere. So I'm just going to go and get a glass of water. I'll be back in a tick, and then I will come back and let you know and say, right, I think this is what the purpose is going to be about. Hang on a minute. I might have to turn down my mic for a sec while I unplug myself, otherwise I'm going to click horribly into your ear holes, which I don't want to do. I hope you don't mind this all being extremely informal and all over the place. I am going to do proper performances as well, where I'm actually just shutting up and playing, and it's a bit more produced. I'm just going to turn down this mic so I can unplug it. You probably heard that click anyway. I saw it coming through. I don't know. Or maybe you didn't. I'm not sure. Anyway. All right. So, this is a situation, just so you know. I talk about the purpose pixie a lot, where you are the purpose pixie. So this is a situation where a purpose isn't actually coming to me straight away. It's like, it kind of feels like, well, I don't, this is the kind of track where someone would, if they were writing it, they would say to me, well, this one doesn't have a purpose. But that idea that this one doesn't have a purpose is them believing in the purpose pixie, that like a purpose pixie comes along and whispers in your ear, this is the purpose, Mike. That's not how it is. You are the purpose pixie. We are all the purpose pixie, right? I want you to step into your purpose pixiehood and become the purpose pixie that you already are. Because that way lies freedom and joy and happiness and prosperity and fulfillment and all those wonderful things. So, in other words, if you don't have a purpose for a piece of music, beyond the function, think of one, because it helps you make better music. Yeah? Do you want to make better music? Do you want it to be easier? Do you want to make a high leverage decision that helps you make other decisions? Come up with a purpose, be the purpose pixie. Okay, so I'm going to become the purpose pixie right now. And I think what I'm going to say, I'm actually going to make this track about technical difficulties. Okay, so essentially, a lot of my life, I mean, when I started coaching and I stopped making, oh, brilliant, Kev. I'm very glad. I'm glad that it's filling in gaps for you and you're enjoying it. Brilliant. I'm going to keep doing it. So yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So when I started coaching, one of the things I was really happy. I started coaching, stopped making music. One of the things I was really happy about was that I was like, I don't have to worry about leads anymore, like plugging leads in, and like, I mean, I'm just a mess. I'm like the most messy, like disorganized, like in terms of physical stuff, you will have noticed that I'm just all over the place. And I actually have come to terms with that, and in fact, I appreciate it now. I think it's part of it's actually. I'm not saying it's the only way to do things, but I actually think it helps. There are certain things where I am more organized, and sort of I have to be more organized or I lose the plot. But certainly in terms of the flexibility of just having stuff all over the place and the kind of pattern, the pattern recognition and the mistakes that happen as a result of that, I appreciate. However, taking that approach means that you are constantly beset by technical difficulties, because you're always you're often changing things around, and that causes like things that you don't know what are going on, and you haven't thought of that, and this is dependent on that, and blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff. So technical difficulties are something which are a necessary part of my life now. They're important to me. They feature highly almost every day in my life. So in a sense, making a piece of music about technical problems makes a lot of sense to me. It's something that really speaks to me. And also, if I'm talking about my authentic core experience, which if you don't do mastery, you might not exactly know what an authentic core experience is, but I won't go into it now. But anyway, it's kind of like some people might call it brand, but that's not a good word for various different reasons. It's more like the thing that you are expressing as an artist. It's almost like the overarching purpose of everything that you do. And my authentic core experience at this point in my career, both for my coaching and for my music, is transcendence with a question mark. Okay. And certainly technical difficulties is on the nose in that wheelhouse, because you overcome a technical difficulty, which just creates another one. So in other words, you can overcome these things, as Philip said earlier. You can, yeah, exactly, bloody leads, Kev. Yeah, so, and they're always really dirty as well. Like, so you get this lead hands. You know that thing where you get lead hands, and some of them are a bit sticky if they get really old. And yeah, anyway, so yeah. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, transcendence with question mark. So you solve a problem, and then that just creates another problem. Now, not that just creates another problem. That's probably the wrong way of saying it. And that creates another problem. That's inevitable, and that's okay. So overcoming technical difficulties is, or any difficulties, in fact, but particularly technical difficulties, is something that we want to accept. It's something that maybe we could even revel in, because we would, if I didn't have this equipment, which I'm incredibly grateful for, then I wouldn't have any technical difficulties. That's what I always try and remind myself when I'm having a shocker. And you might have seen me on the first of these live streams where someone said, "Oh, you poor thing, that's just so annoying." And I always want to say to myself, I was saying it to myself more than anything else, you just got to remember that these technical difficulties are coming as a result of the wonderful things that we can do, right? It's like, I would rather have the technical difficulty of a GoPro not connecting to my computer than how am I going to get this skin of a goat over this, I don't know, hollowed out tree log to make a drum. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with goat skin drums, right? But on a personal level, I'm incredibly grateful for my difficulties in that sense. So that's what I'm going to do this about. This is going to be about technical difficulties. And if I think about a structure, obviously it makes sense. It's the same structure as almost everything, which is situation. So you feel good, you're ready to go, you're kind of taking action, right? So, Luke, I always use the Star Wars example. So, Luke sort of cleaning whatever it is, water filters and shooting womp rats in whatever it is. yeah, all that. And then problem, like Uncle and Auntie gets killed. There's this droid off. There's the Empire. The Empire's bad. We've got to destroy the Empire. Death Star explodes, right? Like 1, 2, 3. That's the situation, struggle, resolution. It's like universal. So if I think about technical difficulties, right, I'm starting my thing, big problems happen, resolve them, but with me, there's always a question mark at the end. I mean, to be honest with you, it's the same in Star Wars. What happens at the very end of Star Wars? Yeah, Darth Vader's spinning around, and then he stops spinning, and does he stop spinning? I think he does. I think he stops spinning and he flies off. I think so. Anyway, I'll have to check. I've seen it so many times, I can't believe I can't remember. Anyway, right. Technical difficulties. Take one. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording here and start it again so that I've actually got it. So I know this is the take. So I'm going to rename this as... I don't think I'm going to call it technical difficulties. I'll probably call it something a bit more interesting than that. But let's, for now, the placeholder name is technical difficulties. All right. Yeah, and basically, like in terms of just to say, in terms of if you're kind of find it difficult to structure a piece of music, just use that model in your head every time. Situation, problem, resolution. It's like it's the foundation of almost, well, not, I don't want to say all music, a lot of music and almost all stories. So it works. I'm a bit cold. Let's go to fan rather than. All right. All right. There we go. So, oh, it's 7:15. Do you know what? I didn't record that. Brilliant. Well done, Michael. Let me do a quick review. So I didn't record that at all. I've got a sound file of it on here, but it's probably got the sound of the room in it, thinking about it. So that's not ideal. What I'll do is I'll do a review anyway. It's a problem of stopping the recording. So let's just call it a dry run. And then I will stop this. Right, okay, so hang on. It's just track 2. Oh, it's called technical difficulties, isn't it? Tech difficulties. And wins. Fun groove. Problems. Yeah, DFAM through. What's it called? Dynamo. Hang on. I'm not showing you this. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so DFAM through Dynamo is a lot of fun. Actually, what setting is it? It's called occasionally bold. Just so I remember. Okay, problems. Doesn't quite go anywhere. Could I make it higher, lower? Contrast. Yeah, so how I might actually articulate that problem slightly clearer is, I just do it. I don't know how to create more contrast with the limited instrumentation. Oh, what's going on there? I don't know how to create contrast with the limited instrumentation. Now, me saying I don't know doesn't mean I can't figure it out, but that's something I don't know right now. So that's something to figure out, right? So I'm not saying, oh no, I'm going to go to YouTube. Oh, it's just, that's a problem, which I can figure out. Dynamo is random, so I'm never sure. Never sure what it's going to do. Okay, opportunities. One possibility could be to add. I'm going to put this in here. So 8, 6 opportunities. Add another effect on DFAM, which I understand, which I know what it's going to do. That's terrible English, but I know what I mean. Free write on how to create contrast with just, this is almost like the opposite opportunity, is not add another effect. I have on the many ways, because there's going to be many ways to create contrast with just the information I have in this. Yes, but that's the point, Philip. I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm not watching YouTube. Yeah, I mean, one of the first videos I did was which I put on YouTube was stop watching YouTube tutorials. That was literally one of the first videos. It's still one of my. It's called The Difference Between a Music Producer and a Wannabe. And I'm not saying that you're wannabes, by the way. So, but I've just, it's like, it's one of those things where as long as you're aware of what it is you're doing and you're doing it for the right reasons, that's fine. It's just a lot of people aren't. You know? Yeah, automatically go to YouTube. I'm sure that all of you watching that aren't like that because I've been talking to you for a long time. Yeah, and it's not just me. You probably knew that yourself anyway. As long as you're aware and consciously making a choice to go to YouTube because of this reason, then that's fine. But most people don't do that. It's just like, oh, you know. Yeah, that's exactly it, Kevin. Doing what you're doing puts the subconscious to work to want to solve the problem in hand. Yeah, exactly. So I think the biggest problem actually that I can think is the lack of contrast. There's another problem, which is not sure how to get back to the previous thing if I change the DFAM. Now this is a problem with the DFAM. I mean, it's not a problem with the DFAM. It's the great thing about the DFAM, but it creates another problem, right? Which is that if I change the DFAM, how do I get back to the thing? Because you want to do that in order to create a piece of music where it returns. I think this is an open question, and I think it's a really important one actually. Free write again on how to come back because what that does actually when changing DFAM. So I've just had an insight actually. One of the things I've realized that I struggle with the DFAM is that when you change the knobs, you literally can't go back to where you were before, which then means that actually stops me from playing with the DFAM itself. Because I know I want to come back to that thing. An option is to use the looper, actually, on the DFAM. So you record something, go mental on the DFAM, and then you can come back to it. But I'm sure there are other options without using the looper, which I'd like to try, or like to figure out. All right, well, that's me for today. I didn't record that. So I'll probably do another version of this, probably not today because it's my weekend. But I'm sorry for the delay and the technical difficulties, but at least I made a piece of music out of it. I won't be on tomorrow because it's my day. I have my day off on my Monday, so I won't be on tomorrow, but I will be back on my Tuesday, so the day after tomorrow. So see you soon. Have a great weekend, and onwards and upwards.